Hi everyone, it's Tonya, and today I'm going to show you how to do the dogwood for that I did in Fiona's flower challenge. And this was the punch that I used. It is the Martha Stewart hydrangea punch, and you only need one punch per flower, but you know, like on this vine I put 4 flowers, so that's your discretion as to how many you use. So to get started, the base of the vine is actually a little piece that I had gotten off of a floral sprig that I found at a floral shop. So that's what I'm going to adhere my flowers to. Dogwoods come in many colors. They're white, pink, and a kind of a really cherry color. So for the purpose of video, because it's really hard to see the white flowers on video, I decided to go ahead and do the pinkish colored. So just do some video searches and see some YouTube, Google searches to see the colors that you like whenever you start making yours. Like I said, I used white. I used the pink. So I'm going to use the aged mahogany distress ink to make my flowers. And the first thing I'm going to do is put just a little spot on my craft mat. And I have a paintbrush here that I'm going to use to paint my flowers. So I'm going to dip it in some water and kind of swirl it around this ink and just kind of dilute it down just a little bit. Then I'm going to paint this ink onto my flowers. And I'm going to make sure I paint both sides of the flower. And that's going to give me my base coat for my flower. I'm not being super neat with this, but I'll just kind of give you an idea. Now I'm going to take this flower and put it in my hand and just kind of get some of that ink off of it. Lift some of that color back off. Or it's kind of helping to dry a little bit. And then I'm just going to take my applicator sponge and kind of mop up all of that off of my mat. And then I'm going to use that to kind of come in and darken up the edges for my flower. And I'm just kind of really barely tapping the very edge of the flower. That's going to give it a different color, you know, on the edge. It's going to be a little richer color along the edge of the petal. I always start my flowers off with either a cream color or a white color base, because then I can add the shadows and the highlights with the color. This is probably going to need just a little bit more ink on it. And notice that I'm doing both sides of the flower. And the reason is because this particular flower will be seen from both sides. Like I said, I'm just kind of hitting the edges, just trying to smooth it in. Adding some highlights just to the edges of the petals. And I really think what makes this dogwood look so spectacular is the way it's painted. Because there's not a whole lot of layering going on here. So, you know, the drama has to be in the way that it's colored. So be very careful with the way you color it. Be very neat with it. And if you feel like you need to smooth some of that out, just go back and hit it with some water. Since you're using distress ink or a water-based pigment ink, you can blend a little easier by just adding a little water. Now, I want this to be good and dry whenever I get ready to mess with the rest of it. So I'm going to hit it for just a second with my heat tool. On both sides. Then I'm going to take a hole punch, and on the very tip, I'm going to just snip off the very tip of the flower on each petal. And this is a standard hole punch. You could use your crocodile if you have one. I just found with the crocodile it was hard for me to see where it was punching. Okay, so this is what I have now. And I'm going to take a brown marker, just any brown marker will work. And I'm going to color in around those ridges that I just cut off. And because this flower is still a little bit damp, that brown's going to bleed a little bit into the fiber of the flower, and that's fine. And I'm going to make sure I get both sides of the petal. just right around that little hole that I just cut. You can already kind of see it coming to life. So now this is what I have. Now I'm going to take, this is a piece of fun foam that's pretty thick. And I'm going to take it along with my stylus, and I'm going to use the smaller size of my stylus for this. Pick which side you want to be the top. And I think I want this side to be the top, so I'm going to flip it over to the back. And I'm going to trace my stylus around the edges of the semicircle at the top and around that edge all the way to the bottom. And then I'm going to come from the center and I'm going to draw 3 lines right through the middle. So I'm going to repeat that on all 4 of the petals. I'm going to go around, trace around the perimeter, and then 3 lines right up the middle. Flip it over, draw around the perimeter, 3 lines up the middle. And then this is the last one, draw around the perimeter, 3 lines up the middle. Now if you notice, this motion is causing this to cup up. So what I'm going to do is flip it around to the other side, take the larger end of my stylus, and I'm going to draw a circle right here in the center so that the leaves pucker going in the other direction. And there's my dogwood. Now I need to do one more thing. I need to add some brown spots. So I am going to put just some random brown spots . Now because I started out with a cream-based cardstock, you can kind of see some of the cream in the shadows here. I mean in the highlights of this flower petal. You can kind of see, I'm going to point it out with the stylus. You can kind of see the cream picking up through here, 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 and here where we didn't get total saturation with the flower. And that's what I want. That's why I start out with a cream-based cardstock, so that I get that shadowing effect that I'm after. Now I'm going to take a white sheet of paper, or just any sheet of paper actually will work. And I have some flocking here that's called Sunshiny Yellow, but you could also use Petal Soft if you wanted to, if that's what you have. And I'm going to take a wet glue, and I'm just going to use my quick dry glue. And I'm going to be very liberal and put a ball of glue right in the center of my dogwood. If my glue will open, I may have to pierce it. Okay, a little ball of glue, and you want that to stick up kind of high because that's what's going to give the dimension to your dogwood. And then you're going to take some of this flocking, and you're just going to drop it down in there, and then kind of very gently press it in, and then tap it off from the back. And if it looks like there's too much glue exposed, just add a little bit more. Now, I like the flocking because it also adds these little fibers to the petal, which makes the petal look very soft. I mean, it just gives it a little bit of an added texture. And then, of course, just put this back in your bottle. I'm going to move it to the side for now. Now, you want this to dry overnight before you really fuss with it too much. But you're going to get your vine. Move this out of the way. Where did my vine go? I lost my vine. Oh, there it is. Okay, you're going to get your vine, And I've already made up a few extra petals here. They've already dried before me. And I'm just going to add a little spot of hot glue right to the back. Now you can see where I used a cream colored cardstock, you can really see the color changes on these leaves. And to me, that's why I use the cream cardstock. And you don't really notice them until the cardstock dries. And I'm just placing it right there on your, just place it right down on the vine. Maybe put one right there. And another right here. And again, I wouldn't really mess with these until they've dried. You want that flocking to really be secure in there before you go handling it too much. But there you go. There's our little dogwood. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it.